Good evening, students. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can someone tell me what was the last topic we were discussing? So I got the notes. Are you people taking notes or not? Hmm? So listen, guys, we'll get started. So the last topic that we saw was a problem based on friction and inclined plane. Correct? Huh? 1 minute. Now we will see the applications of friction. So this will be the last topic of this chapter. With that, we are done. So the last topic of this chapter is circular motion. Okay. So here we have already learned the concept of circular motion in the 4th chapter. Can you guys guess what this circular motion is going to be all about? Can you guys guess what this circular motion is going to be? Just one word, guys. And like, if the class is interactive, I can share a lot of information with you. Whether it is right or wrong, please open your mouth and speak.
So
Else you are
if
on.
we can,
Tell me. Tell me, ma'am.
so we can like read how this circular motion will happen in this lesson.
In which surface? In? See, okay. Let me put the question like this. In the previous chapter, we learned something called as uniform circular motion, right? So in uniform circular motion, what was our main concept of discussion? We discussed about an object which is revolving with a constant speed will always have an acceleration towards the center called as the radial or
Centripetal acceleration.
And what is the value of it? It was v square divided by r, where r is the radius of the circular track. Correct? V is the speed of the particle at any given instant. Right? This is what we learned. So in the previous chapter, we set a context to what is uniform circular motion. Okay. But in this chapter, the circular motion refers to the application part. If you remember, right, last chapter, I would have told you one important thing. So wherever you see circular motion, there is one acceleration that needs to exist always. What is it? It is centripetal acceleration. So centripetal acceleration's formula is fixed, v square divided by r. Okay. But the question is, in this chapter, we learned that for an object to be in a motion, you need some cause. Correct? So that's why we are dealing some topics under dynamics, right? So here the cause is force. Now, whenever there is an object accelerating, have this in your mind, okay? Not only in this chapter or 11th standard, throughout your life, wherever you see there is an object accelerating. For example, you're going in a car, you say, like, you're pressing the accelerator, the car is accelerating, there is some force acting on it, which is a non-zero value. So this is the first thing you need to have in your mind. Okay, so whenever there is a non-zero acceleration existing on an object which has mass, there will definitely be a force. Okay, so here what is happening is the formula for acceleration is v square by r. So if I ask you what will be the formula for centripetal force, can you guys guess it? It should be mass into
v square by r.
Mass into centripetal acceleration. So it should be mv square divided by r. This is where you need to be clear, guys. So mv square by r is a fixed quantity. That is always a centripetal force. But in reality, there should be some force that is providing the necessary centripetal force for an object. For example, if we have to recollect, I would have told you about an atom. In an atom, what happens? There is an electron which is revolving around the nucleus, right? Then who is providing the necessary centripetal force here?
Nucleus.
It is the force that is existing between the nucleus and the electron. We generally call it as electrostatic force. Okay, so the electrostatic force is what is providing the necessary centripetal force. Did you guys learn the formula for radius of a circular orbit according to Bohr's theory? All those things did you learn? Energy of an electron in nth orbit minus 13.6 into z square divided by n square electron volt, something like this. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
You would have not known the reason behind it, but there is something like this. R is equal to 0.53 into n square by z, something like that. Right? All those things actually have a physics formula behind it. You're able to derive the formula for radius only by applying the formula for electrostatic force and mv square by r. Anyways, I'm not going to get into the detail. I'm just trying to say that wherever you see an object, and see, I'm just giving you the thought process. Try to understand. So wherever you see an object is in circular motion, the first thing that should come to your mind is mv square by r. Okay, by default. So right side should always be mv square by r, but this left side is what is the question mark. So you should always ask a question, in this condition or in this scenario, which external force is providing the necessary centripetal force mv square by r for the object that I am observing to be in a circular motion. So in this context, what we are going to see, that is why they gave no centripetal acceleration forces mv square by r. But here the concept that we are going to discuss is about the circular motion of a car on a rough surface. Okay. So what is it? If you have a round track, okay, when you see from the top view, let's say the track is like this, and a car is trying to take a turn near the bend, then the car will start experiencing a centripetal force because it is in circular motion. So if the object has to be in circular motion, it is not possible for any object without having centripetal force acting on it. So this is a point which should be strongly registered in your mind. It should not come out. Okay. Thing is, the heading will be when a car is moving on a rough surface. Okay. So there's what? Circular motion of a car on a level road and on a banked road. What is this banked road? We will see next. Okay. Shall I get started, guys?
Yes, sir.
Let's first visualize what they're trying to say. Okay, it is always worth to visualize things before we go into mathematical equations. Right. Listen. So please write down the heading: circular motion of a car moving on a level road. So let's say there is a level road like this. So level means you guys know what it is. This is flat surface, but the surface is having friction. Let's say this is one of the wheels of the car. Okay, so the wheel of the car is moving like this. Let's say the wheel of the car is moving like this. It is going in this way. Now the question is, when it is trying to take a turn, right? Observe, when it is trying to take a turn, then who is supporting the object to have a centripetal force towards the center? You guys guess it now. Who is providing the necessary centripetal force? So wherever circular motion, I told centripetal force is necessary. So who is providing it? So for that, observe, no? Suppose I take this to be the car. Okay. When the car is trying to turn like this, okay. When the car is trying to turn like this, the force on this car due to the engine or whatever it is acting in which direction? Is it not acting in this direction? So the car is moving in a level road like this, a straight surface. Now suddenly it is taking a turn like this. So when it is taking a turn in this fashion, there is a force due to the engine in this direction, but there should be a force which is acting towards the center for it to take a smooth turn. Or else what would have happened? Let's say this is a wall. If the car doesn't have any sufficient amount of friction, it would have skid like this and go on and hit the wall. Are you guys able to visualize what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
Tell me.
sir, isn't that inertia, sir?
Like what is inertia? What are you trying? Which one is inertia? You're trying to say?
The car that keeps going in the front.
Okay.
While taking a turn, you're saying that it keeps going in the front, no, sir? So that would be inertia.
No, I'm not saying it. Yeah, it would have been due to inertia only, but it's called as inertia of direction. But that's not the thing I'm trying to speak. If it is going like this, if it is taking a turn, there is a force acting on this object in this direction. I'm trying to say,
Yes, sir, that
if
time,
this force-
I mean,
that's inertia. Yeah.
okay, sir.
If that force is not balanced, what would have happened is what I'm asking. It would have gone and hit the wall, right? But there is a force which is acting in the opposite direction, which is supporting the motion of the vehicle to take a circular turn. And that force is what we call it as friction. Okay. So when a car is
Okay,
trying
sir.
to take a turn on a level road, the car goes away from the center, friction acts towards the center. Right. So our job is to find out, depending on the roughness offered by the surface. See, have you ever observed on roadside, they will say, during bends and all, they will say the speed limit is this much value. You would have seen, right? Especially in hill station, the note will be there. When there is a bend, right? They will say this is the amount of maximum speed that can be followed. Beyond which, if you take no, what will happen? The friction will not be able to support your motion. You will start skidding. So
Yes, sir.
there is a lot of physics involved behind it. That depends on the roughness of that particular surface. You know, they will always calculate the safe value because sometimes if there is rain and all those things, no, friction of the surface would have got decreased. All these external parameters have to be taken into consideration. So the first one is circular motion of a car on a level road. So there is a centripetal force acting in this direction. So write it down. Centripetal force is mv square divided by r, where r is the radius of the circular track. Okay, who's providing this necessary centripetal force? It is friction. So what is the formula for friction? Friction is equal to mu into n. But when the car is on a level road, what can be the relation between n and the weight of the car? N will be n is mg, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then what we can say is mv square by r should be in such a way that it is less than or equal to mu mg. This is called as the limiting value. Limiting means the maximum value. So m and m will get cancelled. V square should be less than or equal to mu rg, and v should be less than or equal to root of mu rg. So whenever you are going on a level road, let's say you're going on a level road near a traffic signal, you want to take a turn. When you're taking the turn, in order to avoid the skid, depending on the friction, the coefficient of friction of the road, the radius of the curvature that you're taking, and acceleration due to gravity, your speed has to be controlled. So this is the maximum speed with which you need to turn so that you don't skid. If you cross that value, there is going to be some uncontrollable situation. That is the meaning.
Sir, if the centripetal force is equal to the frictional force, how will the car turn?
It will be equal. Right? Centripetal force is not this thing. No, it's not an external force. Centripetal force would have formula to the written mv square by r. I told you, right? See, for wherever you see circular motion, no, mv square by r is fixed, but the right side parameters keep changing. That is what I meant. Okay. The reason why I wrote equal, yeah. Tell me.
Usually objects turn or displace only when the force is unbalanced, right?
Yeah.
So here, how the centripetal force can be equal to frictional force?
It is less than or equal to it is the maximum value I'm trying to say. Means the velocity is what is this. See here, I'm trying to talk only about the formula. I'm repeating it again. This value, see, mv square by r is not a force. It is a formula. Please understand that. But who is providing the necessary force to get to be applicable to that formula? That is friction. Actually, what I'm trying to say is mv square by r, to be more specific, it should be equal to mu mg. This mv square by r is a formula. Like how you write f is equal to ma. It is something like this only. So in the place of acceleration, I applied that thing. It is not like this is one force separately, this is one force separately. I understand what you're asking. Means mv square by r is some other force, mu mg is some other force. How can you say they both are balanced? No. Moreover, the balance condition, see, object moving, the direction in which the object is moving is different from the direction in which the forces are balanced. That is also there. You're able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So to answer your question, no, what would have happened is, had mv square by r been a separate force, then you are saying this is mv square by r. No. And where is mu mg? Mu mg is also in this direction only. Then how can I equate both? So mu mg is what is the mechanical force that comes into picture. It is only, its equivalent mathematical value is mv square by r, other than a square. Okay. So this is the maximum velocity with which a car can take a turn on a level road so that it does not skid. They have given it here. So V max is equal to mu s into r into g. Where mu s is what? It is the coefficient of static friction. R is the radius of the circular track, and g is the acceleration due to gravity.
What is mu s, sir?
Mu s is coefficient of static friction.
Is it a constant?
Yeah, for that road it is constant. unless you do some friction treatment for it, like applying grease or dropping some oil on top of the road, something like that. Unless it is done, it is fixed. Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Is there any other doubt that you have? Yeah. Shall we move on to the next topic then? See, next is a slightly complicated one. Concentrate, okay? This one was easy. Next one is slightly complicated in terms of resolution and understanding itself. So I want you all to concentrate, and if there is any point you want me to explain again, I'll do it. Just give me a minute. So next heading is right now, motion of a car on a banked road. Motion of car on a banked road. Okay. So you guys know what is a level road. Now, let me show you what a banked road means. Are you able to see this diagram?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See. See. Generally, what they're doing is they have the surface. No, if you're able to see that surface, it is level here. This is a level part, and this is slightly inclined. Correct? So what exactly? I know what is the picture I got. They are doing some testing to this particular vehicle on this road called as banked road. Can you guess what is the is it an advantage or disadvantage to do this kind of banking? Banking means creating some inclination.
Sir, it has pros and cons, no, sir.
Yeah. What is the pro? What is the con? Let me see how you're thinking. No, just you can share whatever it has. What do you think is advantage?
Advantage is if you can take a turn more smoothly, I guess. But disadvantage is you need more force.
Sir, I guess like when
You
we
need
have a banked road,
okay.
the car can easily turn at a high speed.
Yeah, it can easily turn. That is it. That is it. Moreover, you're safe. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, the person who spoke before this, what do you mean by more force is required? More force is required in which direction is what
High
you're
speed,
thinking. I
sir.
want to understand. You need more speed. Not exactly. You don't need a speed for that.
Sir, or
But
else
only
we'll fall, no, sir.
if you're faster. Okay. Let me tell you something. Let me show you a demonstration. You guys know what is the meaning of toppling? You know what is the meaning of toppling? Something getting toppled.
Yes, sir. Tripped over.
Not skid actually. Toppling has something to do with rotation. See, I'm holding a water bottle like this. It is balanced. Correct? I'm able to demonstrate it. It's balanced. Why? There is a normal force acting in this direction. Mg is acting in this direction, downward direction. Correct? But my question is, what if I bend it like this? Will I still be able to balance it?
No.
Right. What will happen? Actually, it will come like this and it will fall in this way if I leave it. You're able to visualize it. So it will not go like this and it will fall like this. It will actually come like this. See, I did nothing. You're able to understand it is actually, I did nothing. So it is happening on its own. Why is it happening?
The weight is on top is greater than the weight on the bottom?
Yes, actually, you're almost there. Weight, you use the word weight, I'm happy about it.
Friction is there in the
No,
bottom,
actually,
not on top.
No. Friction is அவ்வளவு இல்லை. It's not much because I'm able to sense this slightly smooth only, not that rough. It is able maybe due to inclination, see what is happening. Initially, NG is acting perpendicular, correct? Whereas when I bend it like this, what is happening is MG is still acting perpendicular, but in addition to MG, so visualize this. MG is like this. In addition to MG, there is another component of weight acting in this direction. Due to which this weight is actually pulling it like this, so that it starts revolving. It's actually getting toppled. Right? In a similar way, let's say there is a car which is trying to take a turn like this now, Let's say it is skidding. Had it been a level surface, what would have happened? So you should imagine it horizontally. This is a wall, okay? The car is trying to move in a straight line path. It is trying to take a turn. So if it starts skidding, it will come in this direction and hit the wall. Correct? What if I bend this slightly? What
Sir,
if
it
I
won't
bend it slightly? It will come like this. No, it will come, but it will go on the surface at the top, and its weight will be controlled. Why? Because there is mg sin theta or mg cos theta, whatever it is. There is some component of weight whose direction is changed. You're able to understand. So, which will be more safer?
Sir, when it is inclined.
Bank road.
When you bank it. Okay, that is a main advantage of bank. That is why if you see, next time when you go to hill stations and all, observe.
In race, they'll have bank roads. Sir.
Race, they don't have that. That is why they get skid, and bank roads are there, then they can't drive comfortably. Race, they don't have it. Have you ever seen the person on the
At
side?
least there's a slightly inclined plane.
No, not much. It is actually a level road.
Okay, sir.
But they will be trained to control it. See, if that is there, then it is not going to be raised because the banking will help them to take a turn. No, that's not the whole challenge. Next time you observe, what will happen? Will any person who's standing, they will change the tire and all those things. Because of the speed with which they go, there will be a very fast wear and tear. You would have seen, they change the tires in few seconds. 4 people will be there. They will change it. They'll actually stand on a level surface. Whereas this banking you can observe in hill stations. When you're taking a turn right, the road will be slightly banked. It is in order to ensure if suppose any person is not able to control, the banking will actually push them back. Or else what will happen? They will go and directly fall on the other side of the whatever you call it. Okay. Am I clear?
So banking will be present in the turnings especially.
So can you once again say about this? I didn't get it clearly.
See, level road, if there is a skid happening, there is no one to control it. Whereas, if on a level road, something is getting skid, and it is, see, the skid part, let's say it is going on an elevation. Look at my hand. Skid going on a straight surface, it cannot be stopped. You're able to observe my hand. Whereas, when you take a turn, it is going like this, then it will come back like this. Something is there to control. Unless the banking is very high. When the banking is very high, it will be the same bottle story. It will completely topple. There will be a very big accident also. So the banking of road,
lower the banked road is, then there will be like friction acting, and then there will be the force will be stopped easily. Okay.
Okay. Then you are saying the control will be more, but I am not concluding that banking will. I'm not concluding saying that the value of theta is going to be the same for every road. It completely depends on different parameters. It depends on what is the purpose of the road.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I'm not trying to say, but I'm just trying to give you a hint saying that if banking is more, it will topple. See, for example, the diagram which I showed you. The diagram which I showed you, you are able to see, the road is very high. because they're using for a testing process. Real time, the roads will not be like this. You know why they're testing? Because they want to ensure that their vehicles are safe. It's done by a company. They have some track. When it is able to get controlled at this angle itself, they'll be confident that on a real-time scenario, they'll be able to control it even more. Guys, are you able to understand? So instead of doing a simulation, they're doing a real-time testing of it. Puridada?
Yes,
Right.
sir. Yes, sir.
Now you know what is our job? Our job is to find what should be the maximum velocity of that particular vehicle that should be taken on a that should be taken on a banked road to ensure that you have a safe turn. That is the whole context. Okay. So if I take the diagram here itself, observe.
Sir,
Tell me.
sir, I have a doubt, sir. If we had observed during bike races, they don't curve the bike normally. They tilt their whole body while curving. Does it have any
Yes,
relation?
because of the speed only again. Because of the speed.
So what happens when they tilt their body, sir?
When they tilt it vertically without bending,
Yes, sir.
you can collect them in the middle of field. They'll not be in the track anymore.
Sir,
No, you cannot find. You can collect them in the middle of the field. You can collect them. They'll skid definitely. They're doing it because of the forces are balanced out of it.
Okay, sir.
Same as the concept with bicycle also. When you ride it, no, you see next time if you ride a bicycle, observe you'll actually take a slight bend.
Yes,
Maybe
sir.
not to the extent of racer, you will take a slight bend. It's because you're trying to control your weight. I don't know. You're trying to control your weight, nothing else. Okay. Shall I proceed with the derivation? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
See, this is slightly complicated. Okay. So what I did is I'm drawing a diagram here itself so that you can understand. So I'm taking this as the horizontal. If this is theta, okay, then this theta is what is called as angle of banking. Angle of banking. Okay. Now, in this case, what will happen is the friction on the tires will act in this direction, except correct? Friction will act in this direction. So what I'm doing is I will take this theta at the center. Angle of banking. So this is friction. Guys, I'll be asking at every step. Please confirm if you're clear. Okay. Next, the weight of the object will be acting from the center, mg in this direction.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to make the diagram more clear. Don't draw it. Once I complete, I'll give you time to copy it. Theta, this mg. Then there is going to be a normal force acting in this direction. Correct? Now, this road is having a curvature, right? The center of this road will be somewhere over here. See, actually, it will be even more on the other side, but I cannot draw it here. But I hope you're able to understand that the center will be somewhere on the left-hand side. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
Sir, I don't get this part. Sir.
See, if the road is like this, okay, if this is the curvature, when you see from the top direction, the circular part will be like this. The road is
Yes,
like
sir.
this. So this, if you it will be a circular track. Where will be the center of this? Somewhere over here.
Yes, sir.
So that is what I do. So the
Okay,
bus is
sir.
like this. Bus is like this. On the bus, mg is acting in this direction, friction is acting along the surface, right? And the center is somewhere over here. That is what it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I hope you're clear, right?
Yes, sir.
So the center is somewhere over here. Now the question is, the formula for centripetal force is still the same. It's still the same. What is it? It is mv square divided by r. So I can say the centripetal force formula is mass of the object into v square divided by r, where r is the radius of whom? R is the radius of the circular track. Okay. But in this context, I told you, no, whenever you're writing centripetal force, this is the logic you need to follow. Right side, write it as mv square by r. Left side, always you ask the question of who's providing the necessary centripetal force. Which mechanical or electrostatic or magnetic forces which is providing the centripetal force here? It cannot be friction alone. Why? Because observe, is friction acting towards the center in this context like how it happened in previous case?
No, sir.
No, right? So since it is not acting, then I need to find out what is the force acting in this direction. Right? So I have told this to you guys already. I'm doing two resolutions, guys. Observe, if this is theta, can I say this is mg, this is n, and this is friction? Right? If I drop a perpendicular like this, we have already resolved the mg for inclined planes. What is it? Along this surface, it will be mg sine theta, and along this, it will be mg cos theta. Means, can I say that this is theta? You guys remember that this is theta? I told you, right? Next time onwards, you need not sit and
Yes,
do it
sir.
again. Right? So when I drop a perpendicular, now since the center is here, my job is to resolve. See, this is the only case of inclined plane where you will take this as x-axis and this as y-axis. But in all other cases, we generally take this as x-axis and this as y-axis. But this is the only case where the horizontal is still x and the vertical is still y. Why is it happening? It is purely because the center is in this direction. Okay. Now observe, guys. If this is theta, can I say that this is also theta? Vertically opposite angles.
Yes, sir.
See. This theta, then this is also theta. Okay. Now observe, f can be resolved along horizontal direction as f cos theta. So f is like this. This angle is theta. Then f can be resolved along the horizontal as f cos theta and vertical as f sin theta. And already there is mg acting in the vertical direction. Correct? And this n can be resolved into y direction. So n is like this, making an angle theta. N can be resolved into y component as n cos theta and the x component as n sin theta. Okay. Now tell me, what are all the components that are acting towards the center of the circle? Center is on the left hand side. So which two mechanical forces put together is providing the combined centripetal force?
Sir, is
It is
F theta and n sin theta?
f cos theta plus n sin theta is providing the necessary centripetal force mv square divided by r. Correct? Now, which forces are balanced vertically? mg plus f sin theta will be equal to n cos theta. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. So first write down these equations. While writing, if there is any doubt, please let me know. This used to be one of the regular questions asked in every school.
Sir, can we copy the diagram?
Please do it.
Sir, centripetal force acts from the center to the vehicle or from the vehicle to the
No, no.
center.
From the vehicle to the center. Centripetal center. Center is derived from center. Pital is center seeking. Okay. So if there is a force which is seeking towards the center, we call it as centripetal. The opposite of centripetal is centrifugal.
Yes, sir.
But centrifugal is a pseudo force. It is not a real time force. Centripetal force is real force. You don't have pseudo force in your syllabus, so don't worry about it. If you want, you can study out of your own interest. Sharia. So anything to answer your question, anything towards the center is centripetal.
So can you scroll down a bit?
Sure. Done? Let me know once you're done. Okay. I'll write down that. Almost the derivation is over. Since you guys understood the equation, it's only about solving. 2 more steps, we are done.
Yes, sir. Done.
Sir, can you explain the direction of force once in this diagram?
Which force? Which force? Which force?
Sir, here basically it should be forward of the truck, right? Friction.
Yeah, it is in the this one you're asking, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it will be in the forward direction because the tires, when they're trying to take a turn, they experience a force due to the engine in this direction. This will be the direction of force experienced by tires. In order to decrease this, friction will come in the opposite direction. Okay.
So can you tell again?
I'm saying when it is taking a turn like this, right? Right. When it is taking a turn like this, can you tell me in which direction will the front wheels bend? I'll give you 2 options. Will they bend in this direction or this direction? Will they bend in the first one, right? That is with the front wheel. What will happen to the second wheel? The back wheels, rear wheels. The
Second.
rear wheels, next time, they turn in the second. You guys observe it next time. When you look at a car, observe when it is trying to take a turn. Generally, in our streets and all, they will take the turn very slowly. But if it is taken very fast, no, you can observe that the rear wheels will turn in the opposite direction. When they're turning in opposite direction, what is the direction in which the car has the tendency to move? It will be in this direction. No? So the overall vehicle is experiencing a force due to the engine in the upward direction, in the upward direction of the banked road. But who should balance it?
Friction.
So that is why I took it in the opposite direction. So that is the reason why in this case, it is supporting the motion.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this F, can I write it as mu into n into cos theta plus n sin theta is equal to mv square divided by r. So I will take this n outside, mu cos theta plus sin theta is equal to mv square by r. Let this be equation number 1. In this thing, can I write mg is equal to n into cos theta minus f, can I write it as mu and sin theta? So n, I take it out, cos theta minus mu sin theta. I will call this as equation number 2. Okay. If I divide the first equation with second, then I get n into mu cos theta plus sin theta is equal to mv square by r, the whole divided by n into cos theta minus mu sin theta is equal to by mg. M and m will get cancelled, n and n will get cancelled. V square by rg should be equal to, actually this should also be greater than or equal to. Same logic. For us to find the what is the maximum speed, should be equal to mu cos theta plus sin theta divided by cos theta minus mu sin theta. Okay, this is v square by rg. So v max will be equal to square root of rg into mu cos theta plus sin theta divided by cos theta minus mu sin theta.
Sir, could you scroll up a bit?
Sure.
Sir, can you once show from the starting?
Is it clear now?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Sir, how did you resolve force, sir? Frictional force.
Friction, I just see here. If this is theta, this will also be theta. No. Now normal and this horizontal are perpendicular. Then this will be 90 minus theta. Then this will be theta. Right.
Sir,
So
okay,
friction is
sir.
in this direction. Now you got it?
Yes, sir. Sir, it can also be corresponding angle, sir, because lines are parallel.
Yeah, that can also be taken. But I generally go with the rotation. I'm comfortable with cycles of complementary.
Okay, sir.
That is why. Okay. Got it? Let me know once you're done. So let me know once you're done, guys. I just have to share some important points in it.
Done, sir.
Done? See, this can be taken as a general formula. For a level road, what did we get the value of Vmax as? Less than or equal to root of mu rg, correct? Huh? For a level road, can I say that theta is equal to 0?
Yes, sir.
Substitute theta is equal to 0 in this and see, no? So Vmax will be equal to square root of Rg into mu cos 0 plus sine 0 divided by cos 0 minus mu times sine 0. 0, 0. Cos 0 is 1, cos 0 is 1. So Vmax will be how much? You will understand. So this is like a
Yes.
generic form. And I think in your textbook, they would have given it like this. They would have divided the numerator and denominator with cos theta. So numerator and denominator multiplied. See, if they give you as an MCQ question, okay. If they give you this option also, it is right. Suppose they give you another option multiplied with cos theta, then Vmax will be equal to square root of Rg into mu plus tan theta by 1 minus mu tan theta. Did you
Sir,
understand
can
what I
you
did?
scroll up a little?
Sure.
Thank you.
Let me know once you're done. We will do one example problem, but with that, this chapter is done.
Sir, I previously asked you about what is mu, and that time you told it was something related to static friction, right? So
Static
what
friction.
does, yes, sir. So what does static friction mean, and what is the other type of friction?
Static is, see, why we talk about static friction is because static friction will give you the limiting value. I hope you remember what is the limiting value. It is a maximum static friction before which an object will be at complete rest. So before the object starts going into a motion, whatever is the value of maximum static friction, that is called as the limiting value. And that is the reason why we take static friction into consideration. The other two types of friction are kinetic and rolling. Kinetic, you know, right? So mu k is coefficient of kinetic friction. That is when the object is in motion. Or I can say sliding. Sliding is translatory motion. So what is mu r? Coefficient of rolling friction. That is when the object is rolling. So what is the relation between them? Mu s is less, mu s is greater than mu k is greater than mu r. That's it.
Here, why are we taking a static friction, sir?
Because of the limiting value. When they would have laid the roads, they would have not calculated kinetic friction. No? See, you think logically, right? When you're doing something, you will try to have the maximum safety in your hand, right?
Yes, sir.
So when they laid that road, they would have definitely taken the maximum static coefficient friction that the road can offer.
Okay,
That is
sir.
the reason why static friction is there.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So
Sir,
we'll do
but
one problem.
actually what is acting is rolling friction also.
No. It is actually nothing like rolling or something. Like here we are talking only about static friction because you're talking about an instance. See, if you have a camera, let's say you're looking at the whole thing, is this not a frozen situation? Is this not one of the scenarios?
Yes, sir.
You are analyzing at a fixed position. That is why you're taking static. Because you're not observing what is happening throughout the continuous journey. This is at a particular instant. Okay. So in that we have taken, since we are taking inequality, we have taken the maximum condition into consideration. That's it. So don't worry about other things. It is static only. See, here also it is given. Okay. So tell me, a cyclist speeding at a value of 18 km/h on a level road takes a sharp circular turn of radius 3 meters without reducing the speed. The coefficient of static friction between the tires and the road is 0.1. Will the cyclist slip while taking the turn? So this might answer your question. 18 km/h is 5 meters per second. So what is the safest bet? V max is mu s into R into G. What is mu s? 0.1. Radius of the circular track 3 into 5. Oh, sorry, G is 10 now. So Vs should be less than or equal to this value. How much is it? It's coming out to be 30.
Sir, actually, we shouldn't take G as 10, right?
You
Maximum
can take
it will be only 9.
9.8. No,
Yes.
no, whatever it is, if it is closer value, then we will think of 9.8. What is the value that is coming? Mu s is 0.1, R is
3, sir.
So it should be 3, right? But here he's turning with a speed of 5 meters per second. What should have been the maximum speed with which he should take a turn? It is only 3 meters per second. So he will definitely skip. 5.11. There is a circular racetrack of radius 300 meters. Is banked at an angle of 15 degrees. If the coefficient of friction between the wheels of the race car and the road is 0.2, what is the optimum speed of the car to avoid wear and tear on its tires, and what is the permissible speed to avoid slipping? So optimum speed of the racetrack to avoid wear and tear of its tires. So let me read this out. On a bank road, what are you trying to say? The horizontal component of the normal force and the frictional force contribute to provide the necessary centripetal force to keep car moving on a circular turn without slipping. That is n cos theta. F cos theta and n sin theta, right? N sin theta and f cos theta put together, they are providing the necessary centripetal force. So at the optimum speed, the normal reactions component is enough to provide the needed centripetal force. Okay. So they are maintaining the optimum speed. Okay. So what is the optimum speed to be maintained so that the wear and tear of tires is avoided? When will wear and tear come into picture? Only when friction is acting. So if you have to avoid friction coming to picture, then you should maintain a speed in such a way that n sin theta itself is sufficient. I repeat, that n sin theta itself is sufficient and frictional force component can be 0. Okay, that is when you will avoid the wear and tear. In that scenario, what will happen? N sin theta itself will provide the necessary centripetal force, and n cos theta will balance mg. So what I'm trying to say is, guys, understand this whole expression is there, no 1 and 2. Where is it? This 1 and 2 is there. No, in 1 and 2, whenever the car is trying to turn with an optimal speed, okay, means they are trying to take the help of friction in that case. Since the road is banked, you can ask me, sir, the road is banked, do we need to take friction always? No. Sometimes you can take a turn in such a way that friction need not come into picture at all. So that's called as optimal speed. So when that is not coming, then mu cos theta will be 0 and mu sin theta will be 0. So in mg will be n cos theta, n sin theta will be equal to mv square by r. Applying all those things, you will get the answer as divide both v square is equal to rg tan theta. So substitute, you will get the answer. Secondly, maximum permissible speed to avoid slipping. That is the formula that I've already told. So you substitute it, you will get the answer. Okay. So this is all about circular motion of a car on a level road and a bank road. So revise it again. If there is any doubt, let me know tomorrow. I'll start the new chapter. So tomorrow we'll start with work, energy, and power. Okay. Since most of you have another class, we'll wind up this session. Okay. I'll see you guys.
Thank
So
you, sir.
Thank
is
you,
it
sir.
okay? Sir, is it okay if we submit the chemistry paper tomorrow?
Yeah, that's fine. Do it tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.